What is up, men and women of God? Today is Saturday, October 12th of 2024, and I just got back from getting a haircut. And I wanted to talk about what today is. And today is the day I gave my life to God a year ago. And 1 year ago yesterday, it was on Wednesday, I went on a youth trip to Kentucky to see Noah's Ark. And when I had left for that trip, I was lost and depressed, and I didn't know that going on this trip was gonna completely change my life. And I also didn't know that Jesus was waiting for me there. We flew all the way over there, and we were staying in this Airbnb in Ohio. And when we first got there, we were just like settling in, unpacking and stuff. We had cheeseburgers for dinner, and they were good. And so that was the first day. And the next day, on the 12th, which is today, it was Thursday last year, which I don't get. It's like, it went up like 2 days, but it's whatever. But the next day, we went to see Noah's Ark, and it was pretty cool. I'm gonna put up some pictures like right now. And so those were some of the pictures that I took when I was at Noah's Ark. I didn't really think much of it at the time. I was pretty much still kind of growing from it, because before that youth trip, I was going on Bible studies just to get to know everybody. Because even though I grew up in that church, I didn't really know anybody, because I didn't talk to anybody. So I would go to Bible studies just to get to know everybody. And that trip that we went on, I felt like I grew relationships with everybody there. I felt like we were just all becoming friends and stuff. When we got home from Noah's Ark, we were watching the movie. I forgot what movie it's called, but I was struggling during the movie because I was so tired. And so I was just like dozing off, falling asleep. But and after that movie, we had like this little talk about some like sins that we didn't know were sins and stuff like that. And I had asked the question, because I think at that point I wanted to follow Jesus. I saw how Jesus was working through that church and through everybody's lives there. And in that house, there was like a sense of peace in it, and it wasn't something I felt at home. And so I wanted that. And I had pretty much like asked the question. I had said that I want to grow a relationship with Jesus, but I don't know how. Pretty much told me to like give my life to God. And so we had like our own kind of like worship, what's it called, like worship session. And it was like, I can't even like put it to words on how I felt. When I made that decision, it completely changed my life. I no longer felt depressed. I no longer felt suicidal. And if you haven't heard my testimony, I'm gonna put up a link right now. And if you haven't watched that, I would suggest you watch that first and come back to this video. I pretty much talk about my life and what's been happening. And but in that house, I gave my life to God, and it's something that I would never regret. And after we had that little worship session, we stayed up late. I forgot what else we did, but we stayed up. It was late. This video specifically is towards those who recently gave their lives to God. And if you're one of those people who gave their life to God at the called up preaching I did, and if you haven't gave your life to God, I wanna show you guys how to. It says in Romans 10:9, if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. And so just by confessing that you're a sinner, just by confessing that Jesus is Lord, and that he died and God raised him from the dead, that's pretty much how you're saved. Being a good person is not gonna save you. Doing good deeds is not gonna save you. Giving money to the poor, giving food to the poor, or just doing good in the world, it's not gonna save you. It doesn't say doing good works and deeds will save you. Only by believing and having faith you will be saved and spend eternity in heaven. And so that's the only way you get to heaven. And I forgot the scripture, but I'm gonna put it up right now. But it says that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And the whole verse is I put up already, but you can't. That's the only way you go to heaven, and it's by grace and not works. And so, what do you do after you give your life to God? It says in Matthew 16:24, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. You have to completely deny yourself. You have to completely cut off what your flesh wants, because the flesh wants to do all these worldly things. It wants to go party, it wants to go drink, it wants to do all of that. But your spirit does not want to. Your spirit wants to follow Jesus. And so it's a constant fight. But if you completely cut off your flesh and follow your spirit, you're not gonna want to do what your flesh does, but what the spirit does. I've heard this saying. It says it's like, which way does a tree fall? And a tree falls the way it leans. So if you're leaning toward your flesh, then you're gonna fall into your fleshly desires. But if you're leaning towards the spirit, you're gonna walk by the spirit and follow Jesus. And so that's pretty much what you do. And for me, I didn't want my life, and so I gave it to somebody who did. And so I completely cut off everything that I wanted, and I was just obedient to what God wanted me to do. And I think that's a reason why He's used me a lot. 3 months after giving my life to God, I only read like 4 books in the Bible, and I was already preaching to some of my friends. And not only that, a couple like months later, I had this prophetic dream of me being an evangelist, and my dad had pretty much interpreted it like that. And so recently, a lot of stuff has been pointing to that. Like right now, I'm currently making videos. That's something that just came to me. Like I always wanted to make videos since I was little, and now that it's coming back to me about making these kind of videos, that's another way of me evangelizing. And this is not what I'm gonna like do. I'm not gonna sit in my room and just talk, but I'm gonna go out into the world. And I also look up to like Bryce Crawford or Richard Lorenzo, those evangelists. That's something what I want to do too. So that's like something for the future. And so a lot of things have been pointing to being an evangelist, and I've just been nothing but obedient and saying yes to God. When I went to my brother's wedding, my pastora had asked me if I want to help out at VBS. I said yes. They wanted me to help out at church. I also said yes. My dad asked me if I want to go to a youth trip. I said yes. And so God was pretty much already building me up so that He can meet me in Kentucky, that He can meet me in that Airbnb, that creepy house in Ohio. He was already meeting me there. He was already there waiting for me. And now Jesus pretty much had me preach at my school, which at first it was like I was kind of nervous. Like I was growing up, I was shy. And so doing all these things is like going out of my comfort zone. But one of the fruits of the Spirit is courage. And that's something that God gave me. And so when I was pretty much just kept talking, my nervousness and shyness was just leaving me when I was speaking. And if you haven't watched that preaching video, I suggest you watch that too, because it was so powerful. And when I was filming, 4 people gave their lives to God, and that was it was like so cool. And when I was done filming, more people came and gave their lives to God. I think I prayed for like over like 4 more people after I finished filming. And it's just so beautiful. And I know that God has a big future for those who gave their lives. So God really has me using me to spread the truth to the youth. And just like Jeremiah, he started his ministry around my age, at like 17. and God didn't look at his age, he didn't look at his physique or anything, but he looked at the heart and used that person to preach to people. That's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. I just want to thank God for how much he's done in this 1 year of me following him, and it's something that I want to make this video to look back at. And so in next year, just to look back at what he did the first year, and I know that he's gonna do even bigger than he did this first year. And so if you haven't given your life to God, I strongly suggest you do that, because it's just like something you never regret, and it's something that I don't even wish that I had my old life back. This new life is just perfect. And if you haven't given your life to God, congratulations, and just keep following him. Deny yourself and walk by the Spirit, and you won't fulfill the desire of the flesh. So I thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I just ask that you like this video and subscribe and share this video to people you know that have given their lives to God recently, and so that we can grow this ministry.
Take up, shield of faith, no